Hi, and welcome back to Grassroots Crypto, where I like to teach people about crypto. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the recent THORChain hacks, providing more information, trying to put it in perspective, explaining why THORChain is a bit more complex than UniSwap or other sort of like decentralized applications, and then answer some common questions that have been coming up. A lot to get through, so let's just get into it. Here we have an image of what I did in the THORChain overview. So all the different components of THORChain, and this is what is inside of THORnode. This is my THORnode overview video from there. So what I'm going to try and do is combine all the bits here to zoom in and understand how Ethereum works. So with regards to THORChain. When a person sends information or wants to interact with THORChain, they interact with, or they connect to a THORChain interface, with their wallet here, and they interact with the Ethereum blockchain. Within the Ethereum blockchain deployed there is the THORChain router. So this is a smart contract. And then this essentially communicates with Bifrost, like messages and information. And that Bifrost then works within THORChain in order to add, remove deposits, coins, whatever. It's a bit more complex than that because Bifrost really scans the blockchain. And what happens is when events happen in the router, it emits these events that are visible on the blockchain, and that's how Bifrost can see it. So this kind of like line doesn't actually exist. It's more like Bifrost looks at the chain and then the router emits events on chain. And within THORChain, in order when nodes see events, they send transactions into THORChain, that's on the replicated state machine. And then when you have 2/3 of the nodes agree, then we'd say, okay, we've seen that transaction, we agree that it's valid. So for anything to happen on chain or believed to have happened on chain, there needs to be 2/3 consensus with all the nodes. For stuff to move in and out of the Asgard vault, because it's a threshold signature scheme vault, you also need 2/3 consensus of the signing party. And have a look at my security videos on that. So THORChain from this, I guess, a certain point of view is quite secure because it's all Byzantine fault tolerant with regards to anything being seen or believed to be seen within the network or external of the network, as well as moving funds in and out of the vault. In order to get funds from THORChain, you kind of like need to dupe the system. You need to trick it in to do something that it believes is correct that's not actually correct, because you can't just kind of like reach in and take funds out because you've got to have the guarding the TSS functionality as well as the BFT on the blockchain. So let's have a look at 2 attacks and how they've happened. I'm not really going to do the X-Room one because that was only like $100,000. Just going to look at the first one. I'll go through the second one, which is the most recent one. What has happened here within, I guess, 2 attacks ago now, is an attacker has created their own router or wrapped a contract around the THORChain router. And actually, before I get into this, I'll just show you the router. The router can be seen by going to here. If you go to have a look at inbound addresses, that has the router contract, and then you can go to the actual router here on Etherscan, and it has a bunch of events that can get called, and these are emit an event. These are like functions can get called for write contract, read contract. You can actually read the code. So when we talk about a deposit, that is in a deposit event, and that emits that event on chain, as we can say, it's visible on chain. We're going to use that deposit event, and that's what's the same in GitHub. If you like go to here and have a look. Anyway, so that's the THORChain router. It's actually this contract. You can see THORChain router. So someone's wrapped a contract, created their own smart contract around the THORChain router in order to manipulate it. And then what's happened, this is kind of cool from a nerd point of view, is the attacker has sent 20 Ethereum to this contract here that then changed the actual amount of Ethereum being sent and sent it to the THORChain router as like a swap. That's then obviously been seen by Bifrost. And then Bifrost is like, well, what amount has been sent so I can process the swap? And it goes and has a look at the original transaction. It's like, oh, 20 Ethereum is being sent. So therefore, I'm going to process a swap of a 20 Ethereum. It might be, say, a swap of Ethereum and sushi, whatever. So it's going to send back 200 Ethereum worth of sushi, but 0 Ethereum was actually sent in. So they're kind of like getting free ERC20 tokens or ERC777 tokens for nothing, because Bifrost is looking at this particular transaction, the amount in this transaction, not this transaction. You might be asking, what's the difference between an ERC20 and 777? Essentially, the 777 is an upgraded version of the ERC20 standards that's been around for a while. This one's a bit newer. You can do a bit more. So apparently this, from what I understand, this loophole is for the vault transfer event. So this is when you transfer funds from the Asgard vault to the UniSwap vault. This type of check of what was actually sent in is not done. So there are going to be changes to ensure this loophole only exists for this particular event, and this is an internal event. You can't like externally call it, like it doesn't externally get done. So that should tighten up that loophole. So that's how that one was done. It's pretty cool. And as I said, this is tricking the system because everything looked legitimate. So that's why there was a 2/3 majority consensus from everything that got done. It was just duping the system. This one, which is the latest one, the largest one, was a bit more complex. So here the attacker created their own version of the router. So they kind of copied this, I guess, made it their own, and with a few differences. So they called a function called return vault assets with some Ethereum in it. And that gets sent down to Bifrost, and Bifrost sees that and forwards that Ethereum back to the vault. The problem is Bifrost is thinking is sending it to the Asgard vault here. However, inside the call for this event, they passed in a fake Asgard vault because it's like a parameter. So Bifrost has then sent that Ethereum back to this fake Asgard vault. They've essentially sent it back to the attacker. Upon the fake Asgard vault receiving this, it emits a deposit event saying it's received this Ethereum, just say it was like 10 Ethereum or whatever, but it sends back a bad memo, and I think the memo was unverified or something. So Bifrost sees this and says, oh, this is a bad memo. So when we get bad memos, we refund the amount of funds that were sent in. So it sends back naturally it sends back the Ethereum, but it goes to this vault, the real Asgard vault, grabs 10 Ethereum and sends it back. So essentially the attacker's doubling the funds they send in. They send in 10 Ethereum, it gets sent to this fake Asgard, sends back, emits an event that has a bad memo, and then Bifrost goes to this vault and refunds, or believes it's refunding, the 10 Ethereum back to the hacker. So they're doubling every time they do this. Now, why does this happen? I just want to talk a little bit about this. This is from my point of view. All opinions expressed are my own here, but it's my channel. I guess I can do what I want. So here we have this sequence of events. It's quite a complex sequence of events within Ethereum. I can't really, undersell how difficult this is. So I think a lot of attention has been spent on getting this right, and information being passed off from one component to the next component and all working. And working with the Ethereum nuances as well as all the other chain nuances has been extremely difficult, which as you would have seen in the lead up to multi-chain ChaosNet launch, as well as all issues afterwards, mainly around Ethereum, all the gas stuff and stuff like that, stuck transactions. So I believe this has been implemented with quite a good basic check. So you can have a look at the code, all the standard checks are there. And Bifrost believes it's going to be getting information from the router. Bifrost believes that the right Asgard vault is going to be referenced because this continually changes. So it has to be parameterized, all this type of stuff. And somebody's come along, I think, in the first THORChain hack and said, oh, well, that's kind of like publicized that the THORChain can be hacked. Then come and had a good look at what's going on here and then found some complex exploits. Particularly this one, which is, quite complex. I think BepSwap was really successful. The core team, I think, has done, as well as the community, done a fantastic job there. Their multi-chain launched, and I think that burden's just been increased more and more and more. So, having something like this, because it is ChaosNet, and I think the risks have been publicized. There's a Medium article on ChaosNet, and this is kind of, not good, but to be expected. I think it's a really good thing, because this adds more and more eyes to THORChain, particularly from the community. It's galvanized the community to move forward and support THORChain. And if you've got THORChain kind of as an analogy, being a young adolescent, it kind of, you don't want it to grow up and all the caps come off and everything's going to be great without it having gone through some difficult times. So it has to go to have a few knocks before it gets out to the real world. Else it's going to have a big trouble when it's you could say an adult. So I think it going through these type of issues now is good. It's not ideal, but it's better for the longer term. So now I just want to explain why THORChain is quite complex and how it differs to something, the normal automated market makers you'll see on Ethereum. All right, so here we have a DApp. This is like a centralized application like UniSwap, like SushiSwap, like anything else you'll see on Ethereum, particularly in the DeFi space, but all kind of works the same. I'm not here to hang any rubbish on UniSwap or anything else. This is just an example for comparative analysis only. So when a user interacts with UniSwap, they interact with a web layer, which is, React, JavaScript, whatever. And underneath that is a smart contract. And that contract is usually written in Solidity, and that has all the logic for UniSwap, or the automated market maker logic. And it can be quite complex, but that's really where it stops. That smart contract is then deployed to the Ethereum blockchain here, and that's where it's stored. That's why you can see on Etherscan. And then when a user connects to the web layer, they are told to connect with their web wallet, so like their MetaMask wallet, and then that interacts with the contract at runtime within the Ethereum virtual machine. So it's kind of like it runs in the EVM on the blockchain. You could kind of think of it like that. So UniSwap would be responsible for creating the web layer, the nice, web interface and stuff like that, as well as the smart contract functionality or the code that goes about that. Once that's done, the Ethereum backend takes care of everything. So the Ethereum blockchain's there, the storage of information, the contract execution, the validation of the transition rules, the validation of all the business rules within Ethereum, the state transitions, the block creation, the replication of all the information, all the nodes, the consensus, all of that type of stuff is just inbuilt with Ethereum. And it's like Ethereum is the hardware as well as the operating system, and then like UniSwap is an application that runs on there. So that's kind of like what a DApp like UniSwap is. Now, when we go compare that to THORChain, it's somewhat different. We have a web interface here, so that's like THORSwap or Skip or whatever else. Now, you could say that it interacts with the backend, but really that's false. It interacts with the blockchains, and then Bifrost sees that information and then sends that information to the replicated state machine to get consensus and stuff like that. THORChain needs to worry about its own blockchain, and that's the state machine, the replicated state machine, as well as the blockchain application. It's within THORChain, the blockchain is like an application because that's where all the business rules are stored. The state transition logic they need to write by hand, also as well as the storage of information. Whilst they're using the Cosmos SDK that helps, that is really all up to THORChain. THORChain also has within it the Tenement core, which is kind of like does take care of a lot of that BFT or Byzantine fault tolerate consensus module, as well as the replication and the networking. So then they have the validators, that's the block validation and creation, as well as Bifrost to scan all the blockchains and hit those business rules and make sure everything's going right, as well as Midgard to present the information for all, what we just seen before. You would see on like Rune Vault or whatever. And then you actually have the smart contract layer. So this is where you have the THORChain router as well as the Rune ERC20 token as well. So, the takeaway point here is that UniSwap or DApp just needs to build the web layer as well as the smart contract layer. And that's kind of it. And then they leverage the Ethereum backend to do everything for them. THORChain needs to build everything from the ground up. The nodes, as well as all the blockchain, the business rules, and then the automated market maker logic and everything about it, they need to build, as well as all the logic to interact with these external blockchains. So that's a quick comparison between the two. I hope you find that useful. Let's talk about what's happened and what's been happening, just to try and give an update, and then we go to some FAQs. So there's been a massive community response, and this has been fantastic to see. Lots of passion, ideas, and great engagement. You'll see this on Discord, on Twitter, and in Telegram. It's been quite good. There's been a sovereignty check for the Asgard Vault. So this is to ensure that, as we talked about before, if it believes it's getting 200 Ethereum and it's not, then it's going to, there's going to be red flags there, because, the replicated state machine or THORChain blockchain believes it's got an extra 200 Ethereum in the vault, but it's not physically there. So these checks are going to be going on to ensure that what it believes has got is what it's actually got. And if that's not the case, red flags. And there's quite a few iterations on this as well. So whilst this is pulled in, I think in ticket 999, there's 2 or 3 other tickets to you could say build and iterate on this solvency check. So this ability to stop individual chains instead of halting the entire network. Hardborn, which has been hired to do a security check or security audit, has released updates. I think there's an update here. Thank you to Runebase. They've got a bit of an overview of what's going on there. Very quick read. Hardborn has also released the latest hack analysis here. So actually, what's interesting, you can read all about it, and I'll post the links in the description below, could have been done to other chains. So this is quite a severe hack. And I think that is mentioned here somewhere. So yeah, could have taken different tokens, although I think it's supposed to be Litecoin, if they wanted to. So yeah, it was quite a severe one. There's actually another exploit that was responsibly disclosed. We'll get on the bounty program in a minute, to do with the affiliate fees. That wasn't supposed to be capped at 10%, but that wasn't. And this get share was returning more than the total. Well, so now there's been a new function added. So there are actually 2 quite severe bugs that have been found and fixed. You can keep up to date with all the action here inside of the GitHub list of issues if you want. So that's the Hardborn report. Let's talk about what's been happening, or what is happening currently. So they're going to whitelist these smart contracts. That's essentially the router, to ensure that you can't wrap a router or pretend to be a different router and stuff like that. Nodes can request halts, and this will require 1/3 consent, 1/3 to request a halt, I believe. Increased delays for very large outbound transactions, just to give a bit more time to do these sanity checks. Increased monitoring tools, responsible disclosure and bounty program, which is now managed by 9 Realms and Immunify. So this has been requested quite a lot by the development community. So this is this is coming. It's like imminent, I believe. Hardborn and Trail of Bits have been hired to conduct security audits of the THORChain code base. And this is a structured review. So obviously, proper companies going through a structured process in order to conduct these particular security audits. Then there's been a code walkthrough for like white/grey hackers by the team, showing them the code and stuff like that. And that's adding more community involvement and eyes. This was done for a set of security professionals. And I know that video is done because I edited it yesterday. So this is while we have a structured review process going through, utilizing the companies of Hardborn and Trail of Bits, then this one using the security professionals going through the code is very much of an unstructured way. So it's a 2-pronged approach on getting eyes and review of the code base. And of course, I think, things might be seen a little quiet. I guess everyone's taking a bit of time whilst this is all happening in the background. There's a lot happening in the background, and obviously a lot of the community and the core teams just busy doing stuff and not really kind of doing anything else. I just want to get on some FAQs. So when will THORChain be restarted? So I guess when it's safe to do so. I said thinking about a week. It actually probably might go a bit longer. It really depends on the outputs of the security audits, and I said there's a lot happening in the background. So once that information is known, then better decisions can be made. And I said it is been called ChaosNet for a reason. There are a lot of risks, and I know they were publicized. I'm sure everyone didn't read that Medium article like I did. I'll put a link in the description below. Mods will post updates for the from the devs in all the relevant areas. Check Twitter, check Telegram, check the announcement channel to get more information as it comes to hand. People are asking what happened to my uncompleted swaps or withdrawals. So like everything's recorded. So if something's stuck in the replicated state machine or whatever, that should get processed when the protocol is fully restarted. It's going to happen in stages. So the main THORChain blockchain will start first, and then other chains will start, in different times. So the Ethereum chain might start, like say, later than the Bitcoin chain, whatever. The full sequence of events, I don't know yet. That's not actually known, but hopefully known soon. Do I still get block rewards or income as liquidity provider? So the answer is yes. THORChain will credit the pools with Rune while the chain is halted, so LPs do not lose out. The Rune is based on your position or the depth or how much you've added. Nodes will also get paid as well, whether they're active or standby. They'll also get remunerated for this. So do you still get impermanent loss protection? Yes, but remember, impermanent loss protection is measured in block time, not like actual duration. So if the chain's halted for, say, 5 days, you'd need to wait 105 days duration, because again, as everything's measured in block time. Yeah, what's been happening to my Rune yield? It's showing all these crazy abnormal figures. Well, don't stress out. The pools are out of balance. So if we show the pools are out of balance, and when they're out of balance, that upsets the ratio, and it's the ratio of, say, assets to Rune is what sets the pool price. So that's all been upset, and that's why you're going to see abnormal figures. So as I said, the pool price has their own prices, which is unrelated to the market price, and the pool price is upset, or it's different when the pool's out of balance. That's why everything looks strange or abnormal. It'll return to normal, and in this example, when the Ethereum chain restarts, then Rune yield in your position will start to look normal again. And that kind of like relates to point 2, like it's not going to really start to make sense until these chains get restarted. So I heard the team will make my LP whole again, and they're going to fix everything, and pay me everything. Everything's going to be fantastic. So what does this mean? What am I going to get paid in? So as I said, LPs are going to get paid block rewards. There's been talk about this, about how, whether it's going to get done, how this is going to get done. I can't say it's been confirmed yet, whether it's going to get paid Ethereum, whether it's going to get paid a bunch of Rune and let ARBs, fill in the Ethereum, however it works. It's just too early. So you're going to understand that THORChain is incredibly complex, and when there's a trading halt, there's lots and lots of different consequences. So, this is just one consequence of, how do you remunerate liquidity providers? So all of that needs to be gone through in a detailed methodical process, and it just takes time, and you need to combine that with the outputs of the security analysis and all of that stuff in order to come up with, a good solution moving forward. And again, it's just one of those things that will take a bit of time. However, THORChain does have a record of looking after liquidity providers, and then there'll be more information closer to when the Ethereum chain restarts, or whatever chain restarts, they'll be providing that information. So I heard the team would suspend ERC20 tokens. What about Ethereum? What about, if I'm a sushi provider or whatever? So look, it has been suggested, but it's just too early to tell. There is a difference between like a native Ethereum and ERC20 contract, but I can't, I don't know enough to really comment on that. Again, a lot of attention is going on within the Ethereum space, within the security audits. So the information that comes out of that will help direct the time frame as well as the action and the path moving forward. So that's pretty much everything I know, everything I've got. I've tried to put it in the video. I hope you found this useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have a question, let me know. I'll try and answer it. This is dynamic. This will probably change. In 3 or 4 days, there'll be more information coming out. I'll try to get as much information as I can in this video. Do share it with people that, have similar concerns. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Hit up the THORChain community chat. Thanks for watching. Look, don't forget to like, subscribe to see more information like this. And until next time, thanks. Bye.